Hey guys, Bente here for CGTuts, and we're back with part 7 of our tutorial on the Tassimo. Okay, and again, apologies for the delay between parts getting up on CGTuts. I actually had a major hard drive crash a couple weeks back and actually lost the tutorial as well as all the scene files, the model, my original model. Actually, everything I've pretty much modeled and done for the last 5 or 6 years I lost, so it's a bit of a nightmare, but I managed to get most of the stuff back with some recovery software. And I did get the tutorial back here, so we haven't lost anything. So we'll just continue on. Okay, and in this section we're going to do the water tank, as I mentioned last time. And again, this is probably the most difficult part of the entire machine. Let's just take a look at the reference pictures here. Okay, so here's one of the tank. Let me go back a few here, see if we got another angle of this. Here it is here. Alright, and again, we have two tanks. We have the smaller one that sits inside with the filter, and then we have the outer tank. We're going to start on the outer tank here. We'll tackle the inner one later on, but for right now we're going to do this. As you can see, it has quite a bit of detail on it. I'm going to slightly change a couple of things just to make it a little bit quicker for the tutorial. Nothing major, just a couple of minor things like these little flaps here on the back. Probably going to take those out, and we'll just get as much as we can in. Okay, so let's get started on this. Let's jump back into Max here. And the water tank isn't actually on the blueprints, as you probably noticed. I didn't actually render that out with them on there, so we're just going to kind of do this blind to the viewport. Let's grab the base here, the back piece, and hide everything else. And let's also maybe delete the turbo smooth on this for now. Okay, so we're going to create the tank, and rather than cloning off polygons from the lower part here and creating it, I'm actually going to do it from scratch. It'll be a little quicker for us to do, so let's do that. Let's just jump into the top view here, and we'll start this with maybe a box. Okay, so let's grab a box here, we'll draw that out over the base, roughly the same size, give it a little bit of height here, and we'll immediately just right click and convert to steadable poly. Alright, so what we're going to do here is just grab these 4 verts at the back, and we'll just kind of line this up with what we have on the base. Alright, so let's move this up and line it up with the outer edge, like that. Same thing down here. Let's push this in, and we want to make sure we get the right edge here, which is this one. This is the support edge with this, so we want to make sure we get it on that edge that's actually the back polygons. Okay, so let's grab these verts here, we'll move these in a bit, line them up right there, and the same on this side. Let's move these in a bit, like so. Okay, let's also maybe just center the pivot point now that we've adjusted that. Okay, so that's what we have. And let's also maybe move it down and we'll set it on the base here. Okay, so let's park it right about there. And the first thing we'll do is round over the edges to match what we have on the lower part here. Okay, so let's go into edge. Let's grab an edge here and an edge here. And we're going to do the outside ones first, and then we'll do the inside ones later on. The reason for that is because these have a slightly shallower curve than the outside ones. Okay, so with those 2 edges selected, let's go to the top view. Zoom in on one of these corners here. And we're just going to open up Chamfer. And we'll take this up, and we want to make sure we match the number of segments we have on the side here. So let's do 4 right here, and we'll crank this up until we match it up. Okay, so something like that, about 37 or so. And we'll do the inner ones. So let's grab these edges, hold down Alt, deselect those and those, so we just have the 2 corner edges selected. And we'll do the exact same thing here. Alright, so let's zoom in. Open up Chamfer. We want to keep the same settings here as far as segments, but we want to crank this down until we match it up. Alright, so we'll take it down like that, around 31 or so. And that'll give us the shape that we need for the tank here. Okay, and we really don't need to have the top or bottom polygons right now. So let's grab those and delete them. We just need the outside faces. Okay, and let's go to vertex here. Let's go back into the back view. Let's grab the top verts here and make sure you have ignore back facing unchecked so you get all the verts. Let's move this up to about here. And we'll just approximate the height. We don't need to worry about it too much. We got to account for that piece that sits on top. And we also want it to stick up a little bit above the machine, but right now let's put it right there. Let's go over to edge. We'll add an extra segment here. So let's grab those edges and connect them. Slide this one up, and we want to park this slightly below the top of that back piece, like that. Okay, and let me just change the color here so we can actually see something. Let's put our blue shader on this piece. Just going to change the wire color here to black. Okay, and we'll just hide unselected for a second so we can see this. Alright, and now that we have that edge in there, it's going to give us an opportunity to create that notched in part that we need there. Alright, we also don't want to do this twice, so let's just cut this in half. So back in the top view, grab these edges and connect them up with one segment. Okay, and then we'll just delete this side here. Delete that off. And we'll come in here and grab these polygons in the corner, the 4 of them here. Okay, and in order to get the reverse curve we need, we're just going to detach these. Okay, so open up detach there, uncheck both boxes. We want this to be a separate object. Hit OK to that. And then we'll reselect that piece. And we'll go back to the top view here. And you can see the pivot points over here. So if we try to rotate this around, it's going to go around that pivot, which isn't what we want. Let's hit Control Z to that. And let's go into the hierarchy panel and center the pivot to these corner polygons here. Okay, and that way we can rotate this correctly, and make sure you have your angle snaps on here. We'll just rotate this around 180 degrees to get the reverse curve, like so. Okay, and that'll also, you know, match up the verts with what we have on the original piece there. So let's reselect this piece and we'll attach these two together. So let's go back over to the vertex here. And if we grab the verts in this corner, you're going to see we're going to have 2 of those in each of these corners. So we want to select those, 2 at the top there and 2 at the bottom, holding Control. So we have these 8 verts selected here. And we're going to weld these up. Okay, and you can see that it only welded 2 of them for some reason. Let's just check. And we have 1 there, 1 there. And we have 2 here and 2 here, and the reason why those didn't weld is because the normals here are backwards. If we right click on this and go to Object Properties and we turn on Backface Call here, you can see that those normals are facing the wrong way. Alright, so we need to actually flip those so it'll weld correctly. So let's right click, go back here and turn that back off. And let's go back to Polygon. Those polygons should still be selected in the corner there, so we're just going to go over and hit Flip. Okay, and I'll reverse the normal so they're facing out, which is what we want. Now we can go to Vertex and grab the 2 pairs in the corners and weld them. Okay, and just make sure you have a difference of 2 there. Okay, so now that that's done, we're going to have to close this up a bit. Let's zoom in here, let's grab these edges and hold Control and grab these ones, and we'll hit Bridge. And then we'll just go over to Border here, grab the 2 borders there and cap them. And you can see we have these triangles right here. And we're going to want to get rid of these. We also want to make sure that we kind of have the topology work in our favor later on when we're going to have to support this. So what we're going to do here is grab these 3 edges and connect them with one segment right in the center. And that's going to make this a quad and this a quad, which is what we want, but we kind of want to change the layout here of these verts. So let's go into the top view. Let me grab this one. Let's turn our edge constraint maybe. And we're just going to slide this a little bit more towards the inside. We don't want that to be necessarily a triangle shaped quad. That can sometimes give you problems. So let's just move this in about the same. Whoops. Something like that. Okay, and just eyeball it, doesn't matter if it's perfect. Okay, so it'll quad that up for us, which will help us later on. We'll be able to actually ring this around so we can add some supporting edges, which we're not going to do now. We'll do that later on just because we're going to have to shell this to get some thickness, and the least amount of polygons we have on it, the better. We definitely don't want to have any tight edges when we add a shell. Okay, so let's turn off Vertex here. And we also want to start thinking about what we have to do on the bottom here. So let's go back into the top view. And let's add a Symmetry Modifier. Okay, and if that doesn't touch up in the center here, if you have any gaps in here or it's overlapping, just drop the symmetry down to mirror and just move that around until it touches up. Okay. Alright, so we'll just do that. Let's right click, Convert to Editable Poly. We don't really need to have the center edge, so let's take that out here and here. Loop those and Control backspace them to get rid of the edges and the verts, and then we'll go over the border, grab the bottom border and cap it. Okay, and let's go back in the top view, turn off border, right click, unhide all, and then we'll just control click the base there and hide everything else. Okay, I want to have this in the viewport here so we can just see where that cut in is at the bottom, this piece here. we're going to have to kind of reflect this detail on the inside there. Okay, so let's go back in here. Let's grab the tank first, and we'll just add a couple of segments down the center. Alright, so let's go back to edge. Grab these edges here, connect it up, and let's actually do 2. Alright, so 2 segments, no pinch, no slide, and okay. And you can see there's a little bit twisted here. Alright, so let's grab this one, we'll loop it, make planar on X just to straighten it out. Same with this one, loop and make planar. Okay, and then with that edge selected, we're just going to pull this over and line it up where we need it, which is right on the center edge here, like so. Same with this one, let's loop that edge, and let's move that back a little bit here, and just park it right there in the center. Okay, and we also want to add one here for the other side of the hole, so let's grab these, connect with one segment, make planar on Y, and we'll just pull that right down. Okay, let's line that up by I right here. Alright, that'll give us the layout we need for those that hole later on. Okay, and again, now that we have that in, we can just cut this in half. We don't want to have to do this stuff twice. So one more segment right down the center, no pinch, no slide. And we'll just grab all the polygons on the left side of center there and delete them. Okay, so let's unhide all here. Let's hide unselected actually. We just want to work on this one piece. Okay, so let's clean up the bottom here before we go any further. And you can see we have a giant angle right here and right here. So we're going to need to quad this up. The easiest way for us to do that is just to connect these edges across and these ones over to these ones here. So let's go to edge and grab these two right here. Let's go to the top view so it's a little easier to see. And we'll just do a connector of one segment. And let's just move this up. And I'm going to move it up to right about there. Kind of want to line it up with this vert over on this side. And we'll do another one right here by selecting these edges and connecting it. Let's bring that down just a bit, like so. And then we can just go to vertex, grab these two and connect them. And let's grab these two and connect them. Okay, we'll do the exact same thing going this way. And if you want to, you can just straighten these out. Make it nice and clean. Let's do these ones as well. Okay, so let's grab these three edges here and connect them. Okay, you can see it's a little twisted there because of the curve we have over here, so let's make a planar on X and just pull that over. Right to about there. Let's grab these three again and connect it. And we'll smooth it over like that. Okay, so let's grab these pairs of verts here and connect them up. So this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, now goes quads here in the corner. We need to do something similar on this side, so let's maybe connect this one to here, and let's do this one to here. Okay, we'll just run a couple extra loops this way to the center of the tank to connect these ones up. Alright, so let's grab these two edges here, another connect, bring that down, and another connect here. Okay, and let's connect up the pairs. Okay, and if any of the edges are twisted like this, you can just straighten them out if you want to. We're going to have quite a few twisted edges later on once we add the shell onto this, so it's not that important right now. Okay, I might just straighten this one out for the time being. Okay, so that's quadded up for now. The topology is nowhere near awesome down here. We're going to have to change this quite a bit later on. Okay, so now that we have that done, let's maybe start working on the whole. Let's grab these three polygons here. Let's also right click and unhide all for a second so we can see where the mesh is. Let me just grab the base here and hide everything else so we can see something. Okay, let's reselect the tank, reselect the polygons there, and let's go into the front view here, or the back view, sorry. Okay, I want to kind of extrude this down to match what we have here. So let's open up extrude, and we'll just hit OK to that, and we'll just pull this down manually to right about there. Okay, and we want to have obviously another loop here so that we can get this angle. Alright, so let's do another connect here on these edges. Connect up one segment. Okay, and that's right on the money, so we'll just go to vertex, grab these bottom verts here and just move it down. Okay, I'm just going to move this up just a little bit here. so we can match the angle a little closer. Okay, and we definitely don't want to have these inside polygons here, so let's just grab these 3 and delete them. Okay. And let's turn off polygon here, hide unselect it, and we'll start working with the shell here. Again, this is going to cause us, a few problems, particularly in this area over here, because of the geometry, but we'll fix it. It's just going to take a little bit of time for us to tweak. Alright, so let's drop a shell on here. And let me just unhide all here for a second. We definitely don't want to do an outer mount. If we crank this up, you can see it's going to start pushing right into the body over here, which isn't what we want. Okay, I want that to go on the inside. We could fix this by moving the verts over, but it'll be easier if we just do an inner mount. Let's do maybe like 4. And let's maybe do 5. That might not be thick enough. Okay, and you can see right away we have some issues on this section here. You can see that the topology has changed a bit. These edges are moved to a lot more close to that back corner. So we have to fix that. And if you come down here, you can see this edge here is angled. And we can fix that by going down to the bottom here and taking on straightened corners. Okay, that's going to fix that. It's not going to fix all of our problems, but it'll make it a little bit better. Okay, so we'll go with maybe 5 on the inner mount, and let's just work with this, I guess. Let's get rid of everything else here. And rather than collapsing this right now, I'm actually just going to put on an edit poly modifier on top of the stack here so we can just work with this a little bit more. First things first, let's kind of readjust the edge flow here. Let's grab this one and this one. And we'll just zoom in on this on top view. And let's just move these back a bit. Oops. Let's do by vertex here just so we can kind of move these correctly. That's why I don't have edge constraint on. Okay, so I'm just going to move this back roughly to the center, and let's bring this in a little bit more maybe. Let's hit this guy here. Oops. Maybe more like that. Okay, and you can see this edge here is also angled, so let's straighten that out. Just going to loop this one right here. And before I do that, you can see that's going to continue around to the outside, which isn't what we want. We want to work on the inside and outside independently. So the reason for that is just because it'll be much easier for us to adjust the loops time rather than trying to do it with them selected on each side of the model, if that makes any sense. So let's get rid of these polygons here on the inside, which we don't need anyways. So let's go into the top view, grab these polygons here, deselect these ones. So we just have those side ones, the inside ones selected, and we'll delete those out. Okay, now prevent our loops from continuing around the outside. Alright, so let's grab this again and loop it. Okay, and then we'll just control click vertice here. Just going to deselect this corner vert. Okay, and we'll just move this up and kind of line this up a bit. Want this to be kind of straight across right from the corner of this piece. Let's do maybe something like that. Okay, and you can see that it also twisted this a little bit when we put the shell on. Could probably fix that maybe. Okay, you can see these are a little bit out of position here. They actually should be over quite a bit more, like that. So let's just take care of that now. Okay, just so it's a little bit straighter. Okay, so let's go back to edge here. Let's ring these edges here and do a connect. And we're just going to slide this right down. Okay, that's going to help us sharpen that edge up later on. So we'll just park it right there above it. Let's do one underneath as well. So another ring there, another connect. Let's bring that up a bit. We want it to be pretty sharp, maybe not right up to the top, but let's do about 98 and okay, and we'll just slightly move it up a little bit more by hand. Maybe like that. A little bit more. Okay. And because we changed the edge flow here, we can actually just ring this loop around. It'll go around this piece for us, which is good. So we can just add a loop here. So let's do another connect. And we'll just take that down to the other side. Okay, you can see it's not going to go straight, so what I'm going to do here is just look at this piece, get the space part of it correctly, and then we'll just move those verts forward a bit. Alright, let's park that right about there. We want it to be pretty sharp. And we'll go back to the top view here. And let's just grab these 3 verts here. I'm just going to move that out slightly. Let's do it on the top view. Okay, we might also need to add one this way, so let's bring these edges here and connect that up. And for this one, it's actually going to go over the top because we still have those top polygons in there, which we actually need. So this will work for us as well because it's going to allow us to put a support edge right through this section, which we'll have to do anyways. Okay, so let's take care of both in one shot. Let's connect this up. And we'll back that off just a little bit here. I don't want it to be too sharp. Okay, let's do around 60. And we'll just move these verts here forward to even it out. Oops. Like that. And same thing on the other side here. Let's grab these ones. Let's move those a bit forward. Okay, so everything's as even as possible. Okay, and we'll also maybe do these ones here. Just a bit. Okay. And let's see what else we have to do here. Now we're definitely going to need a loop right on the outside of this piece on each side, else it's going to look weird when we smooth it, so let's do that now. Let's bring this edge, and this is going to go around the entire thing, which is okay. So we'll go into the top view here. We'll do a connect on this. Okay, 1 second, no pinch, no slide. And let's straighten it out again by making planar on Y. Whoops, X, sorry. Okay, we're just going to move this over to about here. Get a control click vertice. I'm going to deselect the verts up to this point here. And we'll just pull these over a little closer to the corner where we need them. Okay. Just like that. And on the outside here, that'll work as a support edge down the side here for us as well, which is good. Okay. So let's do the exact same thing over on the other side. Let's grab one of these, ring, connect, planar on Y, and just pull that down. And we want to have it, pretty much the same distance on each side here. Let's just move that a little closer. And we'll check out the outside as well. Okay, that's fine. Let's add a loop here as well. So ring those, connect again. Just pull this one right down. Right about there. And we also need one underneath, so let's ring this again. Another connect. Let's bring that up. Right about there. Okay, and don't worry about the edge loops that are going all over the place here. We can clean some of those up later on. Alright, so now that we have those in, let's see if we can smooth this out and see if it looks okay. So let's do a turbo smooth 2 iterations, nice line. Hit F4 there. Okay, I'm just going to put 3 on for a second so we can actually see it smooth correctly. Alright, so it looks okay. It's holding the shape pretty good. This side is as well. You can see these bands going up the top here. Alright, and there's a couple reasons for that. One is that we have these loops really close together, which is causing that. We also don't have any support up along the top yet, and we actually need to add at least one more loop through here just to cut up some of these long polygons. We can do that one now. Let's just ring this edge here. And let's also ring it on the inside. We're going to need one there as well. So grab those 2 edges, ring them, connect them up, 1 segment. Okay, you can see this little twist it, so let's make planar on Z. And we'll just pull this loop down to about here. Maybe a little closer. Alright, that'll help us with the smoothing on the corner. Later on we're going to have to chop up, most of these long polygons so it'll smooth it correctly, but for now it's a good start. Okay, so let's just see if that helped at all. I'm just going to do 3 iterations for now. Okay, so pretty much the same, but it is holding the shape so far, and that's what we want. Okay, you see down here this looks terrible, but we'll have to fix that as we go. Alright, so let's delete the turtle smooth. And now that we have that done, let's collapse the stack. Alright, so I'm going to right click and convert to edit poly to get rid of the shell and the edit poly modifier. And it might be a good idea to save before you do that, just in case you want to go back. You know, this is a very destructive way of modeling if you're just working with edit poly, which is something I always do. Okay, so we're looking pretty good here. We're just going to have to keep going around and adding more supporting edges. We also need to extrude out that border that goes around the bottom of the tank and still do some work in this area.